National Electrical Code Paragraph 600.5 addresses branch circuits for signs and outline lighting. This section specifically applies to commercial occupancies accessible to pedestrians. The code mandates that each such occupancy must have at least one receptacle outlet rated for a minimum of 20 amps for sign and outline lighting purposes. This outlet is intended to serve only the sign or outline lighting and no other load. The key phrase here is each commercial occupancy that is accessible to pedestrians. If a sign is installed on a wall of a commercial building, but that wall does not have a pedestrian entrance, the National Electrical Code does not require a dedicated circuit with no other load for that sign. Paragraph 600.5 of the National Electrical Code clarifies that each commercial occupancy that is accessible to pedestrians must have at least one receptacle outlet of not less than 20 amps for sign and outline lighting. Such receptacle outlet must be installed within 6 feet or 1.83 meters of a pedestrian entrance to the building. The intent of this requirement is to provide a readily available and conveniently located power source for signs and outline lighting in commercial spaces where pedestrians are likely to interact with the building. However, this requirement does not extend to signs that are not located near pedestrian entrances. For signs that are installed on walls or other locations that are not adjacent to pedestrian entrances, the National Electrical Code does not mandate a dedicated circuit. However, it is crucial that the circuit supplying the sign is properly sized to handle the electrical load of the sign. This means that the circuit breaker or fuse protecting the circuit must be appropriately rated to prevent overloads and potential fire hazards. Additionally, the wiring used to supply the sign must be of adequate gauge to carry the current without overheating. All other applicable code requirements must be met. This includes ensuring proper grounding and bonding of the sign and its associated electrical equipment. Furthermore, the installation must comply with all local electrical codes and regulations. Even if a dedicated circuit is not required, safety and compliance should always be the top priorities. In summary, while the National Electrical Code requires dedicated 20 amp receptacle outlets for signs near pedestrian entrances and commercial occupancies, it does not impose the same requirement for signs located away from such entrances. Regardless, all sign installations must adhere to general electrical safety standards and be properly sized and installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code and local regulations. When installing a sign without a dedicated circuit, several factors need to be considered to ensure a safe and compliant installation. Firstly, calculate the total electrical load of the sign. This includes the power consumption of all lighting elements, transformers, and any other electrical components within the sign. The electrical load should be clearly marked on the sign's nameplate or product documentation. Secondly, determine the appropriate circuit size. The circuit supplying the sign must have an ampacity rating sufficient to handle the total electrical load of the sign plus any additional loads that may be connected to the same circuit. National Electrical Code Section 210.23 provides guidance on the permissible loads for branch circuits. For example, a 20 amp branch circuit is typically permitted to supply a total load of no more than 16 amps, which is 80% of the circuit's rating. Thirdly, select the correct wire gauge. The wire gauge must be appropriate for the ampacity of the circuit and the distance between the circuit breaker and the sign. National Electrical Code Table 310.16 provides ampacity ratings for various wire sizes based on insulation type and installation conditions. It is essential to use a wire gauge that is large enough to prevent excessive voltage drop and overheating. Fourthly, ensure proper overcurrent protection. The circuit must be protected by a circuit breaker or fuse of the correct size. The overcurrent protection device should be sized to protect the wiring and equipment connected to the circuit. National Electrical Code Section 240.4 provides guidance on the overcurrent protection of conductors. Fifthly, verify proper grounding and bonding. The sign and all associated electrical equipment must be properly grounded and bonded to ensure a safe path for fault current in the event of an electrical fault. National Electrical Code Article 250 provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding. Sixthly, comply with all applicable codes and regulations. The installation must comply with all applicable provisions of the National Electrical Code, as well as any local electrical codes and regulations. It is essential to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector to ensure compliance with all requirements. It's also important to consider voltage drop. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage at the load end of a circuit is lower than the voltage at the source end. Excessive voltage drop can cause lights to dim, motors to run inefficiently, and equipment to malfunction. National Electrical Code Section 210.19 AM provides recommendations for minimizing voltage drop in branch circuits. The code suggests that the voltage drop should not exceed 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders plus branch circuits. To minimize voltage drop, use larger wire gauges or shorten the length of the circuit. Another consideration is the type of wiring method used. The wiring method must be suitable for the environment in which the sign is installed. For example, if the sign is installed outdoors, the wiring must be protected from the weather. Common wiring methods include conduit cable and direct barrel cable. Each wiring method has its own advantages and disadvantages in terms of cost, ease of installation, and durability. It is essential to select a wiring method that is appropriate for the specific application. Additionally, consider the location of the sign. The location of the sign can affect the wiring requirements. For example, if the sign is installed in a hazardous location, such as a gas station or chemical plant, the wiring must be explosion-proof. National Electrical Code Article 500 provides requirements for electrical installations in hazardous locations. Ensure the sign is accessible for maintenance. The sign should be installed in a location where it is easily accessible for maintenance and repairs. This will make it easier to replace lamps, transformers, or other components as needed. Also, provide a disconnect switch. A disconnect switch should be installed near the sign to allow the power to be easily turned off for maintenance or repairs. The disconnect switch should be readily accessible and clearly labeled. Furthermore, be mindful of energy efficiency. Consider using energy-efficient lighting technologies such as light-emitting diodes to reduce energy consumption and operating costs. Light-emitting diodes are more energy-efficient than traditional incandescent or fluorescent lamps and have a longer lifespan. Obtain necessary permits and inspections. Before installing a sign, it is essential to obtain all necessary permits and inspections from the local authorities. This will ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and regulations and is safe for the public. The permitting process typically involves submitting plans and specifications for the sign to the local building department for review and approval. After the sign is installed, it will be inspected by an electrical inspector to ensure that it complies with all requirements. Remember, even if a dedicated circuit is not required by the National Electrical Code for a particular sign installation, it may still be a good idea to install one. A dedicated circuit can provide a more reliable power supply for the sign and reduce the risk of overloading the circuit. It can also make it easier to troubleshoot any electrical problems that may arise in the future. The decision of whether or not to install a dedicated circuit should be based on a careful assessment of the specific circumstances of the installation. Consider the size and power requirements of the sign, the existing electrical load on the circuit, and the potential for future expansion. If in doubt, consult with a qualified electrician for advice. Furthermore, always refer to the latest edition of the National Electrical Code and any applicable local codes and regulations when installing a sign. The National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years, so it is essential to stay up to date on the latest requirements. Local codes and regulations may also have additional requirements that must be followed. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your sign installation is safe, compliant, and reliable. Installing a sign involves several steps. Firstly, planning and preparation are key. Before starting any electrical work, it is important to carefully plan the installation. This includes determining the location of the sign, the type of wiring method to be used, and the size and type of circuit breaker or fuse needed. Secondly, gather all necessary materials. This includes the sign itself, the wiring, the conduit or cable, the circuit breaker or fuse, and any other necessary hardware. Thirdly, install the wiring. This involves running the wiring from the circuit breaker panel to the location of the sign. Be sure to follow all applicable codes and regulations when installing the wiring. Fourthly, connect the sign. This involves connecting the sign to the wiring. Be sure to use the correct wiring connectors and to properly ground the sign. Fifthly, test the installation. This involves testing the installation to ensure that it is working properly. Be sure to use a multimeter or other testing equipment to verify that the voltage and current are within acceptable limits. Sixthly, inspect the installation. This involves having the installation inspected by a qualified electrical inspector. The inspector will verify that the installation meets all applicable codes and regulations. Finally, maintain the sign regularly. This involves inspecting the sign regularly for any signs of damage or wear and tear. Be sure to replace any damaged or worn parts as soon as possible. Remember, always disconnect power before working on electrical circuits. Working on live electrical circuits can be extremely dangerous and can result in serious injury or death. Always disconnect the power to the circuit before working on it. Also, use appropriate safety gear. When working on electrical circuits, it is important to use appropriate safety gear such as rubber gloves, safety glasses, and insulated tools. This will help to protect you from electrical shock and other hazards. Furthermore, get professional help when needed. If you are not comfortable working on electrical circuits, it is best to get professional help. A qualified electrician can safely and properly install or repair any electrical equipment. Bear in mind, the National Electrical Code does not explicitly define what constitutes a pedestrian entrance. This ambiguity can sometimes lead to interpretation challenges. Generally, a pedestrian entrance is understood to be any doorway or opening that is primarily used by pedestrians to enter a building. This would typically include the main entrance of a store, office building, or other commercial establishment. However, it could also include side entrances, back entrances, or even loading docks if they are regularly used by pedestrians. Ultimately, the determination of whether or not a particular entrance is considered a pedestrian entrance is a matter of interpretation that may vary depending on the specific circumstances and the local electrical inspector. In cases of doubt, it is always best to consult with the local electrical inspector for guidance. Understanding the scope and limitations of National Electrical Code paragraph 600.5 is essential for ensuring safe and compliant sign installations. While the code provides specific requirements for signs located near pedestrian entrances, it does not address all possible scenarios. Therefore, it is important to exercise good judgment and to follow all applicable codes and regulations, even when they are not explicitly stated in the National Electrical Code. By taking these precautions, you can help to ensure that your sign installation is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable requirements.